Hey everyone, welcome back to the Broken Brain. This is your Monday mental tip. Lots of stuff going on in the world, and it's shaping my thinking, and so I'm bringing some of the things that have occurred to me in the last, let's say, week or 6 days, maybe in particular. For those in the U.S., particularly, you're probably aware of some of those kinds of feelings that many people are having. Um, where do we find hope? And that's what one of the things that I advocate for on this show and try to use this space for is finding hope, especially if you are scared, worried. And today's tip is not meant to make any of those feelings magically go away, but it is a coping skill that I use that I thought I would share. And I kind of stole it from Mr. Rogers as well. So maybe I'll start with that. The story or quote from Mr. Rogers, I should say, is that he shared about how he was a very emotional young man. And in fact, if you ever get a chance, there's a great documentary called Won't You Be My Neighbor that talks about him. It came out about the same year as I can't remember, the Tom Hanks movie as well, that was a fictionalized sort of account of a relationship that he had with someone. But anyway, but this documentary talks a little bit about that, how he did find overwhelming anxieties and even anger, and some of those emotions overwhelmed him. And he said that he learned from his mother that when there were things in the world that scared him, natural disasters or wanton acts of violence and things like that he'd hear about on the news, his mother told him to always look for the helpers, to always look for those who are doing things to help people through something that maybe shouldn't have happened or that you wish wouldn't have happened. And I remember years ago when there was that act of violence, that bombing at the Boston Marathon, that those words echoed in my mind, because as I saw footage, and there's horrifying, footage of what happened, one of the things I noticed is that when that first bomb went off, there were people running away from it, obviously. But then they ran back because some others needed help. And when there was another explosion, they ran back to help. And they didn't know another one wasn't coming. So that running away and then turning and going back to help others is a fixed thing in my mind. So, and obviously, there's a lot of negativity that we can find in the world. And I believe it's important to be aware of it, even to be angry about it. If we can find healthy ways to deal with the anxieties and things, we wouldn't want to not be bothered by things that are wrong, obviously. But I just want to point out that one of the things that I have been able to do, both through my work as a therapist, but particularly right now, I'm thinking about my work as a podcaster. My favorite thing about podcasting is the people I've gotten to meet and been able to meet. And I've made some friendships with other podcasters. Many of them come on the show quite a bit, who have become some of my closest friends in my life. And then beyond that, too, I've been able to be exposed to so many people that are doing good things and that are taking of their time, oftentimes voluntarily, or they're dedicating their entire professional life. And oftentimes there's a little bit of crossover between that. Ask anybody who's in a social services capacity or who's a teacher or works in healthcare, how much have they put in that wasn't paid for, right? There's always some of those times. And that's true, I think, for any of you, whether or not you have what we call a traditional helping profession, if you will, or any profession. You look at the time that maybe you put in. If nobody asked you to water the plants in the office, but you do, if nobody required you to ask that coworker if they're doing okay when they weren't, then, those things are there. And I think if we hunt for those things, they can be a comfort. Not that we should ignore any problems or things we have to work through, but they can be a comfort. And you can make good people doing good things kind of a hobby, a scavenger hunt, if you will. It's also a healthy thing to do while we're scrolling on social media. Do we try to sort of shape our algorithm, or do we search for things, or do we look for? There's a lot that we can find out there that are service opportunities, nonprofit organizations, people who are trying to educate when it comes to things like mental health treatment or advocacy or other health, related things. And then there's people who create art to bring joy to other people. There are people who maybe create forms of comedy and performance and some other things like that we can find. And you can find people doing things that make you a little happy and make it seem like the world is an okay place for us all to be here. And if you find those, it doesn't cost anything but time to hit share and to maybe send that to people on your little list of people who you send things to. Post it on your feed. Tell somebody about it the next time you're having a family dinner. Say, I saw this. Or even ask that question. Has anybody else seen anything that makes them feel a little good about the world? Or what people do you know that are doing good things? Look around your own neighborhood or the people that you do associate with. And they're probably doing some things that would make you feel really, really good about the world if you knew that they were happening. And by the way, don't forget that you are doing that too. If you're worn out, if you're exhausted, if you feel like nothing you're doing matters, chances are, if you ask those that love you and in your circle, or if you're honest with yourself, you're going to find that you're doing some things every single day that make somebody's life better. Even if they're things that you think, well, of course I'm going to fill in the blank. Of course I would do that. That's just normal. And it's like, it's not normal for everybody, And there are probably things that you are doing or will do or have done that are passions, creative outlets, service opportunities, or just things that you do by being you that do make the world a better place. So I'll say this. I would encourage you to look for those things, but I also want to say thank you to everybody out there. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what you're doing in your own circle to make the world a good place and a place that we can all be, hopefully, a little more grateful to be in. So I want to plug our charity of the month, the Because Organization. BecauseOrganization.org is a wonderful organization that fights human trafficking by focusing on the aftercare needs of those who have survived it and have come out of some of those situations. Go to BecauseOrganization.org, like I said, to learn more about their great work. If you are a donor to the Patreon for this show, half your donation each month will go to the Because Organization if you join within this month. And if you join another month, it'll go to whatever organization we are highlighting during that month as well. I'm really grateful for those who support the program. Allows me to do a little bit more messaging and sharing than used to do, a little bit more regular releases of things. So that's very helpful to the Broken Brain. If it's something you value, please consider doing that. But also I feel really, really cool at the first of each month when I'm able to send out those 50% of and it doesn't matter how small or large or whatever your donation is to the program, 50% of the amount that you donate, not just, before Patreon takes its chunk, will always go to those organizations. And that makes me feel like you and I are in that together too. Thanks very much, and we'll have a new cool episode tomorrow. Bye-bye.